being joined now by U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli, if we can get to that at this moment. Hi, U.S. Attorney. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so first of all, we know President Trump has deployed the National Guard, 2,000 guardsmen. Newsom is calling it a spectacle, inflammatory. What is your response tonight?
Look, the behavior we saw yesterday and today is just completely unacceptable. We have federal law enforcement agents engaged in lawful activities. They're executing search warrants. They're executing deportation orders. They're out doing targeted enforcement. And you have these agitators who are highly organized, highly coordinated, and they're coming out and they're impeding our investigations. They're assaulting officers. They're throwing Molotov cocktails. They're throwing rocks. They're injuring our officers. It is out of control. And since the state of California, the governor can't control his state, then yes, the federal government is going to step in. The National Guard's on its way, and we will have peace and order in Los Angeles.
You mentioned earlier today that there were more federal law enforcement operations happening in LA County and that they would, quote, proceed as planned through the weekend. Is there a specific number of raids or enforcement operations that are going to be conducted that people can expect for the rest of the weekend into tomorrow night?
Yeah, so let me be clear. There's no raids. Yesterday, we executed several search warrants at workplaces that are in violation of federal laws. There was a warrant signed by a federal judge. They're violating labor laws. They're violating, they had fraudulent records they're using for their employees, all kinds of stuff. So we had warrants to go there. The other activities that we're doing this weekend and what will continue is the targeted enforcement. We're looking for criminal illegal aliens who have arrest warrants and final deportation orders. People have deportation orders. We're arresting really bad people out there. We're child abusers and violent criminals. We're getting them out of the country, and that's what the American people voted for. And that's going to continue. That's not stopping.
And I want to get back to the situation currently in downtown LA. The video is playing as we're speaking with you, and we're watching law enforcement, in this skirmish line as we're watching fireworks go off. What, if any, action has your office taken against some of these people that have impeded on these investigations?
Yeah, so we've made over 20 arrests today. If someone is impeding a federal officer, if they're assaulting a federal officer, if they're damaging federal property, they are subject to federal prosecution, and we are doing that. I think what you're seeing on the TV today, that falls more under the state jurisdiction where you have an unlawful assembly, you're having riots, you're having disturbance of the peace. I know the sheriff's office was doing arrests today out in Paramount, and I suspect the LAPD will make appropriate arrests in downtown LA tonight.
And going off of that, I sort of want to draw attention once again to really separating who is responsible for who, or rather who's operating what exactly, because I think there's a lot of confusion among viewers and perhaps anybody else watching at home as to who is doing what. And I know the Sheriff's Department issued a statement earlier today that they would not cooperate with federal authorities. But if you can, I want you to draw some distinctions for us as to who's doing what throughout this weekend.
Sure. The federal government does have ongoing criminal and immigration enforcement operations. We have not asked the state or local officials to assist in that. We are doing that. The sheriffs and the local police are only getting involved when there's a public safety issue, when there's a danger to our agents or there's danger to members of the public in Los Angeles. There's a disturbance of the peace. They're getting involved from a public safety perspective. They are not involved in any of our immigration enforcement operations.
U.S. Attorney, something that the governor has come out to say with the National Guard coming in is that the National Guard really helped us through the Eaton fire, the Palisades fire, and built a sense of trust. He mentioned that having them come for a situation like this would break that trust. What is your response to that?
They're there to restore order. Anyone who looks at the scene on your TV, look at that. It's out of control. What normal person, what member of the public feels comfortable being in downtown LA right now? Nobody. So I don't know what he's talking about. He needs to watch the TV and see what's going on. It's out of control. And since he can't control the state, he can't control the lawlessness, we'll do it for him. And that's what the president's doing. He's deploying the National Guard. We will have order in the city of Los Angeles.
Well, to continue on that topic then, because I want to bring in the fact that the mayor said something regarding that as well, and I'm going to use her words directly, where she says, quote, "These tactics sow terror in our communities and disrupt basic principles of safety in our city." And there is an argument about, executing lawful search warrants and et cetera, but then when it escalates into something like this, there are naturally a lot of people that are afraid. I wonder if you see at all any potential argument for the fact that perhaps it's almost overblowing to a degree and getting to a degree where sort of everybody has lost the handle on the wheel, so to speak.
Well, we are in control of our operations. We have not canceled any of our operations. We have been successful in both our missions yesterday and today. So everything's going as planned on our front. What's out of control is the response by the agitators. And I will tell you, they appear to be highly coordinated and sophisticated. We saw union activists and organizers be involved in these efforts to resist our operations. So there's something going on here where you have this sophisticated resistance that's being mounted against the federal government. And we're looking into that. And we're going to look at who the leaders of those operations are. But look, we didn't cause this. I mean, this reaction is not normal. We are enforcing the law as written. We're not doing anything crazy or draconian. We're going to a judge. We're getting search warrants. We're getting arrest warrants. We're going to immigration court. We're enforcing immigration law. If they don't like it, they should talk to Congress. Congress writes the laws. We enforce the law.
And U.S. Attorney, before we let you go here, we are watching, some of these protesters throw fireworks right at the skirmish line in between these law enforcement officers. You can imagine how dangerous that situation is. But we're talking 2,000 National Guardsmen. Do we know when they will arrive here in L.A. and what that will look like?
I think you can expect them to arrive relatively quickly within the next 24 hours. You're probably going to see their presence. And it is very dangerous, and we hope that all the LAPD officers remain safe out there. We don't want any officers to get hurt. We are imploring the public to not do this. Do not come out there. Do not agitate the officers. People, of course, have a First Amendment right to publicly and peacefully protest, but you don't have a right to throw objects or fireworks or rocks at police officers. That's not First Amendment. That's a crime. And a lot of these people who think they're getting away with it, we've got lots of video online and both surveillance videos. We have FBI teams working around the clock. We will identify you, we will find you, and we will come get you. So you are not safe. You can expect a visit at your door at some point.
U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli for the Central District of California. Thank you so much for giving us a few minutes of your time this evening.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, on that